Welcome. Today we're going to do a few exercises for our hips. And keeping mobility in our hips can be really important if we want to be comfortable in a lot of situations. When our hips get really stiff and we lose the ability to move them freely and easily, it can affect a lot of things that we do. Walking, sitting, getting up and down, it can really change a lot. And so keeping that mobility in our hips is super important. So we're going to do a few simple things today that can kind of just get our hips moving and keep them moving. These are great to come back to a few times throughout the day if you can, or in the morning when you get up, whenever you can. So we are going to do these exercises on the ground. We'll start on our knees. And I recommend, it can not always be very comfortable. It's not comfortable for everyone to be on their knees on the ground. So for that, I highly recommend taking a towel or a blanket and simply placing it beneath your knees. It can be thicker than this. Mine's quite thin, but you can definitely take something thicker and place it so you have a little bit of a cushion and give your knees a little bit of a break. So then we'll come on to all fours. And finding all fours, we're just going to start warming up with cat-cow. This will help warm up our spine a little bit and also moves our pelvis around a little bit, letting our hips rock. So we're going to start by inhaling and letting the breath open our belly here. Our gaze comes forward and we can really kind of let our belly relax and our chest open. And then exhaling, starting in our tailbone, we're going to round here. And then let that rounding move through the whole of your spine. So all the way to the crown of your head. And then inhaling backwards, starting in your tailbone, opening here. And then exhaling, rounding. And you can make this as slow as you want. If going slow means that you can really think about starting in your tailbone and then moving each vertebra, then definitely go for that. And exhaling, rounding here. And then we're gonna inhale, open into cow. And on our exhale, we're going to send our hips back towards our heels. So we can come down to rest on the tops of our feet. And if this is a bit uncomfortable, take your knees a little wider. And you don't need to go all the way down. Go to wherever you can. Inhaling up. And then we're going to let our belly drop and come into cow. Exhaling back. We're just kind of letting our hips rock here. Inhaling up and opening in your belly. Exhaling, sending your hips back. And once more, inhaling up. And exhaling back. Inhaling up. And we're going to come into a stable all fours position here, and you can kind of wiggle around a little bit. Feel your spine, feel your hips, feel your pelvis, and then find your center. Find a neutral spine. And then we're going to lift our left toes up towards the sky. So we take this left hip and we're extending here. And then we're going to draw some circles. So we first take our knee out to the side, which means the foot comes back behind us. And then draw that knee around and back up. Out to the side, towards your elbow, and back up. And let's do 2 more times. And then coming back up, we're going to change the direction and bring it towards our elbow and then out to the side. And 2 more times. And bringing it back. Now we're going to switch sides and do it on the other side. I'm going to come around, make use of my space, and let's see this time. So it doesn't really matter how, for the moment, it's better to keep the movement simply in your hip, even if your circles are small. It's totally fine if your circles are small. And to kind of check how we're not moving our pelvis, you can place something on your back if you like. This could be a book, whatever you have lying around, something that just is going to tell you if you're sending your pelvis out to the side, it might fly off. So let's inhale our right toes towards the sky and then send that knee out and up and back up and to the side, to your elbow and back up, and 2 more times. And then change the direction. And twice more in this direction as well. And then place that knee next to your left. And wiggle out your spine a little bit. And then we're going to come to sit. You can move this to the side. And so we're going to sit on the floor. We do need some kind of space on the floor. And I will tell you that if it is difficult, we can also do this sitting on a block. If it is not comfortable for you to sit on the floor, then you can do the same on a block. It just takes a little bit of extra balance when you get started. So left foot comes in front, right foot comes behind. So we come into this kind of position. We're simply going to take our right foot around to the front and back behind. And we're not going to use our hands while we do it. And if this is challenging, it's totally fine. We're really just noticing what's going on in our hips, seeing what your range of motion is here. And let's do once more, bringing it around in front, and then back behind, and around in front. And then seeing if you can do this without using your hands, taking your left leg, bringing it around behind, and coming to sit on the opposite side. And first we'll get kind of comfortable here, let your spine be straight. And I like to keep my hips here, or my hands here, so I can feel what's happening in my hips. You're also welcome to place them here, somewhere where they're kind of out of the way, and you're not too tempted to use them as you go. So let's do the same on the opposite side, bringing our left leg around in front, and then back behind. Around in front, and back behind, and 3 more times. And if this hip feels different than the other, that's totally fine as well. It might feel different depending on the day. And last time, back behind, and around in front. And that's it. Few simple exercises to do for your hips. I do really highly recommend circling in your hips as often as you can. What we did on our knees, you are very welcome to do in standing, even lying down on your bed. Taking your hips through their rotation a few times a day will help them immensely. So it's great to do. I like to do it while I'm waiting for water to boil, making coffee in the morning, rolling out my hips just a little bit. So hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you soon.